Sorry about that. Good morning. Oh man, sometimes I like to just pick a chord, loop a vamp, and just play over it to like kind of start the day. And I had a few ideas there that I played through before I hit record, and some of them worked, some of them didn't. You hit bad notes, but that's how you get better when you listen back and you go, "Oh man, I really need to clean that up." So you try to get better. I try to get better. I've become a big fan of recording myself, just because of what I talked about previously. You can really kind of identify things that need to be improved upon, and then clean them up. All right. So my mix when I played yesterday was much better. Um, I was able to kind of dial something in that felt good. I gave everything I had some more mids, um, because where it was bassy before, now it was super bright. So adding more mids in there because I really like a mid-centered tone, um, to my particular tone, and it worked pretty good. I listened back to like the live stream, and you can't trust live streams. I'm just gonna say it. You just can't. And it still seemed a little bright to me in spots. Like when I was on I didn't play this guitar. I played the Reverend, but when I was on the neck, it was nice and thick and full. But when I went to the bridge, on the Reverend, it was bright, kind of like it would be with the Les Paul, but it never used to be that way. Um, so I need to be aware of that, I think, and maybe use my tone a little more when I go that, or make sure that my overdrive or my lead tones are bassier than I want, or just stay on the neck for like lead tones. That's always an option. Um, there's that. I wrote some notes down. Oh, so mini board has a problem. The mini board problem is, um, so I have two stages of overdrive. One being the ODR one, which has a fat pedal, like you push down on the whole width of the pedal, that whole thing moves. The OCD, which is like my boost lead tone, has the little button you push, and the OCD has this stupid feature where you plug it in the side. So because of that, it was pushed up a little bit on the board. It wasn't like near the bottom. And every time I went to hit on the OCD, I hit the ODR1 too, which canceled out the effect, right? So now I only had the ODR1. I didn't have, I only had the OCD, too many O's. I only had the OCD, not the OCD into the ODR1. That's the signal chain. The OCD pushes into the ODR1, which pushes way more gain out of it, adds some mids, and you get like a lead tone. So I played with like peeling up the OCD and pulling it way down to the bottom. I think I can get my toe in there because my tuner's on the other side. So if I hit my tune, if I go too far right and I hit my tuner, now I got nothing. Um, so I got just an issue to work through because the pedals are so tight together. It it's not enough to cause me to go to a bigger board. I still love carrying everything like this. I have a backpack. That's right here. It has cables, strings, extra pedals, whatever, and my pedal board in one hand. I can carry both those in one hand, my guitar in the other, and I'm good to go. Where before I had to lug this duffel bag. Anyway, it's way better. Okay. I also learned a new thing. So I learned about. I just had a thought that I'm going to do for my next video. Is I'm gonna put my music stand somewhere and put this iPad on the music stand so I can actually read the notes that I made. Enclosures. So there's this great YouTube channel. I'll link to it in the description. I can't think of it. It doesn't have a very common name. Um, and he has great concepts. and he was talking over triads and how having a deep knowledge of triads isn't enough, and you can move those around and do stuff. And he had this thing of like kind of like passing chords, which I knew. I knew that, you know, if you're see, it's not a great tone. If you're C, you can go right. God, that tone is not. There we go. Right. But I didn't know about going up, and you have like these neighbor tones. But that should really be. Any rate, it's you go diatonically up to the next chord, and then you just go down a half step, whatever. Any rate, it's a new concept to me, and something I'm going to play with. See if I can figure out. I'm going to go back. I typically don't sit with my guitar and watch videos, but I'm going to go back with that one and see if I can replicate what he's doing there. I really like that. Okay. So there's this Facebook group. I think it's called Guitar and Music Theory, or something or other. And once in a while I get topic ideas from there because somebody asks a question. Those are basically where my pentatonic videos came from, or my should you learn 3 reasons why you should learn music theory. Those were questions in there that I thought warranted enough conversation to make a video from. And because it's the internet, not everybody there has English as their first speaking language, so they might frame questions in a different way or whatnot. And a guy asked a question, and I don't remember exactly how it was framed. I don't think English was his first speaking language, and the question was something like, can you tell me what the intervals of the pentatonic scale are? And the people were just complete jerks to this guy. No was an answer. Google it. Oh, sure. Just sarcastic and, I don't want to say demeaning, but like demoralizing. I think if that were me and I was nervous and I was just wrapping my head around this stuff, and I asked a question that seemed silly to somebody, and their response was, why don't you just Google it or go watch a video or yada yada yada, rather than sending me. I feel like we should send people on a path. Be like, I know what you're asking. I think I know what you're asking. I'm going to give you a little bit of information. That little bit of information will allow you to ask your next question. So rather than just giving them a flat out answer, you can kind of give them nuggets of your experience, and then they can go and expand on that. Now they know what questions to ask to get further. So I felt bad, so I answered his question. I was one of the few people in that whole thread that actually showed any kindness to this person whatsoever. And I said, take the majors, because everybody's like, well, it matters. Those intervals change, yada, yada, and that's true, they do. But it's the same 5 notes. So I said, take your major scale, take the 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. Whatever those notes end up being, that's your pentatonic scale. And it doesn't matter if it's the relative minor or the major or anywhere on the neck in that key, those 5 notes are your pentatonic scale. I said skip the semitones, skip the 7 and the 4, things I talked about in here before, and you're golden. And then somebody thanked me for like giving him a reasonable response, and I'm just like, I kind of plead with the guitar community or the music theory community to let's not be gatekeepers, and that's even when people ask questions that seem silly. it takes no brain power if you know that topic well. It takes hardly any brain power to ever just to put a answer on there. If you don't want to, then just don't say anything. Just keep scrolling. Who cares? You don't have to say a bunch of stuff because it makes you seem like a jerk, like you're smart and they're not. So how dare they ask you a stupid question? That's ridiculous, and I think we should stop it. I will die on that hill to not gatekeep music theory and to be kind to everyone. Okay. All right. Now, the topic that I wanted to talk about. Guthrie Trapp had a video. I'll link to this video also, where he was just going around Nashville and talking to different people. Right? There wasn't a lot of guitar playing in this video. And he went to a guitar shop, was talking to people, Music City Vintage, I think, and was like, you should come buy guitars from these people. They're great people, yada, yada, yada. And then he ended up at XTS, whom, if you don't know, they make pedal boards, or, they build pedal boards. And they were talking. The owner was there, and then it must be their head builder was there, and they were talking. And when Guthrie was talking to the head builder, he said something that kind of struck me. And they were talking about different levels of guitar player, not judging them or ranking them, just saying that they're different levels of guitar player, and then how you build around there. And for each level he had in there, he included the attribute of taste. So the middle level was high taste, intermediate skill. Those are great players that people want to be around because they have a great sound. They just may not be shredders, right? They may not be doing a bunch of stuff there, but high skill, high taste were the biggest, I guess the highest level. I'm a bit distracted because my phone just told me that I have a meeting starting at work in a few minutes, so I got to wrap this up. So it got me to think about taste and how I think I have moderately good taste, although my tone today sucks because I didn't take time to dial in the amp for this particular guitar. And how I got to where I got. And I feel like everybody goes through a phase where early on it's rock and roll, it might be metal, it's a lot of distortion, and you slowly develop a taste. And I think you develop that taste based on your influences. So right now, some of my influences are Derek Trucks. I just think he's probably the greatest guitar player living today. His tone, his touch, everything about the sound he gets out of a guitar I think is amazing. And I don't try to replicate him, but I feel like parts of that come out in my playing, not slide, but just parts of how he plays chords, his rhythms, that type of thing come out. The other one that I listen to a lot is Joe Bonamassa, and if you're on a Les Paul with soaring gain, there's no better person to listen to than Joe Bonamassa. The other would be Jimmy Page. Early on, Jimmy Page was the first guitar player that I heard that made me want to play guitar, and his tonal range varies, and a lot of these players, it varies from record to record. Maybe not so much with like Derek Trucks or even Joe Bonamassa for that. They found what they like, and that's their thing. But Jimmy Page experimented a lot. Some newer players are Chris Buck. He has a great tone. There was another one. Oh, of course, John Mayer has a great tone, and his is a second position on a Strat-like guitar. He's got the Silver Sky now, but a Strat-like guitar, and he has great cleans and great leads. If you're kind of just starting out and you're kind of trying to develop your taste for tone, My suggestion would be to go ahead and try to copy what you hear. So try to listen to a recording. Let's say Derek Trucks, because I think he's the greatest. Derek Trucks, and see how close you can get to what he's doing. Watch what he does with the. Watch videos of him. See what he does with the guitar. See how he uses the volume knob to control tone. See how he handles, how he treats his guitar tone as a story. Like it'll start kind of clean, it might get a little dirty, and at the end he's just ripping, and he's taking you through the sound that comes out of his guitar and his amp, kind of on a journey. And that would be my suggestion to you to develop taste, is to listen to watch videos for sure. Watch videos of guitar players playing stuff, but really listen to them and see if you can pick out pieces. And I think especially different, not necessarily genres, but different styles, you'll incorporate those into your style to come up with something that's totally unique to you. Taste is really, really important to develop good taste. You should, I feel like at some point you should know amazing guitar tone when you hear it and you go, oh, that's really good. You don't have to go, oh, that's a Les Paul going through an AC-15. I can hear it right now. But you should be able to go, oh, I really like that tone. I wonder how he got that sound. Don't go, last thing, don't go deep on how he got that sound to think, well, if I buy the pedals he has and the amp he has and yada, 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 yada. And I do. I love Tom Bukovac too. And he turned me on to the ODR1, and I love this pedal now. But I don't have everything that he has on his board. I have a couple pedals. They've inspired me. I have the EQ, but that's basically anybody in Nashville has an EQ pedal on their board, and the ODR1, but that's it. Nothing else is his. So I've taken pieces of that sound that I like and incorporated them into my own sound. And that's what you should do to develop taste. Find guitar players you really like that play really, really well, and see what you can learn from them. That's it. I'm late for a meeting. See you later.